The superconscious mind is really our God self, the higher mind that we have. So for instance, did you ever have like an intuition of something, or you felt like something was guiding you, divine guidance? Intuition just means to be tutored from within. So we all have an inner mentor, we all have this divine spark. In fact, Jesus' last name was not Christ. He was Yeshua ben Yosef, because that's how you're named in Israel. You were named son of or daughter of. Christ comes from the word Christos, which is a Greek word that means the divine spark. So he was really Jesus the Christ, someone who came to teach that ye are all gods. We all carry this spark inside of us, this superconscious mind. And now, just so we talked about the absorption and the reflection and all of the different qualities of the different parts of the mind, the qualities of your superconscious mind is that it loves you unconditionally. It knows your purpose, and it gives you everything that you ask for. So some of you are sitting going, wait a minute, I think I have a defective superconscious mind. How come it's just not doing that for me? Oh yes, it is. So let's discover why you think it's not. All right. Okay, so let's go over it again. It loves you unconditionally, it knows your purpose, and it gives you everything that you ask for. Okay. Who's doing the asking most of the time? If you are not aware of this, and you are not aware of this, it's almost like this is in your heart. They say that really, and that's why I think you'll love the book, The Seat of the Soul, because it's about your really divine spark being the seat of the soul. It's also exists on a plane, in a dimension that we're starting. They really, even science has proven already 11 dimensions. So we got to get past this idea of three-dimensional reality, because it's just so old paradigm. So this divine spark, let's say that exists in your heart, and it exists in this higher dimension that is watching over you, and it is. Okay, so let's say that I wanted to take a picture of Jamie for the course or something, and all of a sudden well, it used to be you develop a picture, now you just look at it right away, it's a whole different world. But I got Veronique in the picture. What happened? In the moment of taking the picture, instead of having Jamie on the lens, I shifted and I had Veronique on the lens, okay? So whatever we are putting on the lens of our unconditionally loving self is what it's going to manifest for us. So if we are unconscious for, I can't do anything right, I'm not lovable, what is our subconscious mind, what is our superconscious mind going to keep giving us? It is going to give us that experience that we are asking for. And again, I'll go to another religious metaphor here, just because I think a lot of people relate to it, is if you think of Jesus in his last moments on the cross, he said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. An example of the unconditional love that we have come to understand that beautiful being came in to teach. Now, did Jesus go, forgive them and them, but not them? It was unconditional. So there's no conditions to a superconscious mind. So if you are unconscious of what really your environment is, of your subconscious mind, to the point that what's always running around you is, I can't, I'm not worthy, then what experiences will you be continually telling your superconscious mind that you want? It's going to always parallel. This part of the mind is unconditional, so it can't give you conditions. It can't say, no, I'm not going to give you that because it's probably not good for you. You have free choice and free will. This is what free choice and free will is about. So whether you're asking consciously or unconsciously, this is what you manifest. Now, I'm going to give you an example from my life, because it's it must be what brought me to understanding this and doing this work, because I think if I had not, I would not have survived my life. All right, I was brought up by parents that were already very traumatized. They went through the Holocaust. My mother was a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous woman who was very narcissistic, and God bless her, she just shouldn't have been a parent. And she was very dramatic, and she had no patience. And so she would say things to me, and not just once or twice, but many times she would start screaming at me saying, "You are so bad that I'm gonna get sick one day and you'll know you did this to me." Or one day she came and she goes, "I'm gonna have a heart attack or a stroke one day and it's gonna be your fault." When I was 12 years old, still in this stage, my mother had an aneurysm, a stroke, and almost died. And then she had another one and actually went clinically dead and became an invalid the rest of her life. But my father came home from the hospital. I'm the one that found her, called the ambulance and whatever. And he came home from the hospital and told my brother and I, there was this aneurysm and something it could have been, because I said, "Could I have made Mommy really mad?" And he said, "Oh no, it was genetic." We were very unsophisticated in my generation. We didn't know what genetic was or anything like that. But because children have inductive reasoning, and she constantly said, one of these days I'll get sick because you're so bad. What did it mean that she got sick? I was bad. I'd made my mother sick. And I lived with that in such hatred of myself that from the ages of 12 to 24, I had 4 very serious suicide attempts. And that was where the last time I literally lost a few days of my life. I was like bumping into walls, and I had overdosed, and I didn't even know that you don't mix alcohol. I don't even drink, and I mixed alcohol with these pills, and something, obviously the universe wants me here. I threw up, but a few days I was just walking into walls, and I realized that unless I figured out who I was not going to survive this life. This tells you lies. Okay, this has nothing to do with who you really are. All it is just pulling on what your programming was. And very few of us have had ideal programming. So does that make sense to you guys? Are you starting to kind of see it in the context of your own lives? And so the power of hypnopotential and hypnotherapy to do this work, to go in and to be able to change this and give us this new perspective on ourselves, and to change how we told ourselves and about the world, and to understand if there's ever anything that I ever said that was wise and that hopefully I'll be remembered for, it is this, because we tend to blame our parents for everything, and it would be very easy for me to do that. This is it, is that people who are not free cannot allow others to be free. Our parents, most of them. Some of us might have been raised with really wonderful parents, and if you had even one wonderful adult who was unconditionally loving in your life, that is wonderful. That can create a lot of mental health in your life, but some of us didn't have that. And so one needs to learn what you carry in your subconscious mind, and it's very hard to do on yourself, and it's very hard to do without understanding that key moment when you told yourself something that was a lie. That lie then gets absorbed into your extra conscious mind. It's constantly reflecting, it constantly feels like it surrounds you, and it really has nothing to do with who you are today. So, what do you think? Questions?
People who are not free
cannot allow others to be free. People who are not free cannot allow others to be free. It's too scary. If they ever never broke free of this, there's no way they can see you breaking free. And that's some of the logic that we use when we get somebody into the subconscious state, because this part of the mind is completely dominated by the imagination, by emotion. Logic, you need to go in almost with a surgical incision to remove that. I don't mean physically. I'm talking about that's what hypnotherapy can do. This is what your clinical hypnotherapist certification can do.